welcome to Cory's Stories. Are you ready to meditate with Cory?
Hello, my little friends. I just wanted to take a quick minute before your meditation story to say hi and thank you, and I appreciate you very, very much. Thank you for listening to my stories. If you haven't done so already, please subscribe to the channel and like your meditation or your video if you liked it, and make sure to press the bell so that you get notified every time I bring out a new story. One last thing. If you love Heidi, Cherry and Vaya or Tucker and Leo stories, you can join the cat club or the dog club. Go to my Patreon link down below. I leave it there on every meditation. Talk to your parents or your guardians about whether you can join my Patreon group. Hope you have a wonderful time listening to my story. Bye. See you next time.
Are you ready to meditate with Cory? Make sure that you're all snuggly and warm and snug in your bed, that the light is just right in your room so that you can relax your body and let go of your busy, busy day. Tucker had been pacing backwards and forwards for ages outside of Mr. Kitty's bedroom door. Mr. Kitty would not let Tucker in.
Please, Mr. Kitty, I just want to come in and talk to you and possibly sit down next to you and me and you can be friends a bit more, even more than we already are.
Mr. Kitty rolled his eyes on the other side of the door. He was in the middle of a game of Minecraft. He was serious, focused, concentrating. If he didn't concentrate, he'd probably get attacked by creepers or something, so he had to pay attention. Tucker was bothering him. He told him to go away.
Tucker said, "What are you doing in there? I just want to play. I just want to be with you. It's been so long since we talked. The last time we talked, we were on the balcony and you were with Vaya. And I didn't say anything to anybody about the fact that you were with Vaya and you weren't with Heidi or Cherry or me or Leo. The fact that you were with Vaya and you guys were alone. Doing what? I don't know."
Mr. Kitty's eyebrow went up. He put his game controller down and walked over to the door and opened the door. Just then, the doorbell rang downstairs. Leo answered the door. It was Heidi, Cherry and Vaya. Cherry said, "OMG, Leo, it's been so long, right? So long. I mean, how long? Feels like forever. 2 days or something. It's been so long since we hung out with you and Tucker and Mr. Kitty." Leo looked at Cherry and said, "It's not been that long, Cherry." Heidi looked at Leo and said, "I know, right? But we wanted to come over. We thought we could come over and we could discuss maybe, Halloween. It's coming up soon." Leo said, "I'm allergic to Halloween. I'd rather not talk about it." Cherry started laughing and pushed past Leo. She instantly started walking upstairs as if she knew exactly where she was going. She was going to Mr. Kitty's room. When she got there, she saw that Tucker was already in there with Mr. Kitty. Mr. Kitty was back on the controller, playing Minecraft again. She walked in, put her arm round Mr. Kitty's shoulder and sat down next to him. "What you doing? What's this then? I've never seen this before. What is it called?" Mr. Kitty said, "Minecraft." Vaya walked in, and then Heidi walked in. Mr. Kitty looked up and smiled at Heidi, and then gave Vaya a smile and a little wink. No one noticed. Cherry was watching what Mr. Kitty was doing on the screen, and then she just screamed really loud. "What on earth are they?" She was pointing to the screen. Mr. Kitty said that they were zombies, and they get you. "OMG! What is this game?" Mr. Kitty, very coolly and calmly, repeated that it was Minecraft. "What's Minecraft? What's the point of it? What do you have to do? Where are you? What are you doing? What's it like? Is it fun? And most importantly, can I play?" Mr. Kitty said, "This is my house. And if you play, you have to be careful because there's these things called creepers and they creep up on you. And that's why they're called creepers. And when they creep up on you, they explode. And if they explode close enough to you, then they blow everything up that you're holding or they blow up your home. And if they blow up my home and you're playing, then you're going to be in trouble." Cherry gulped. "OMG! Kitty! You're so intense sometimes, but I really do like that about you." Vaya giggled. Vaya and Heidi sat behind Cherry on the bed, watching Cherry try and play Minecraft. Mr. Kitty told her to watch out for those skeletons. Cherry freaked out, got nervous, and didn't know what to do with her paws, so she was just like pushing them all over the place on the controller, screaming hysterically, because she was panicking. And then, because she was screaming, Tucker started screaming. And Tucker wasn't even playing the game, but he was getting so enthralled in it that he was screaming and he said, "Oh, this is so intense. I can't stand it. I think I'm going to pass out. Get away from the skeletons, Cherry, get away." Cherry was just screaming like a crazy banshee. What do I do? What do I do? OMG! Oh my gosh, oh my goodness gracious me. Help! Mr. Kitty grabbed hold of the controllers and took back control. He dodged the skeleton archers, dodged the arrows that they were shooting at him, dodged the house being blown up by a creeper, dodged the monsters attacking him. He dodged it all. Vaya swooned. Very quietly, not saying anything, just looking at him as if to say, "Oh, he's so handsome and brave." Heidi took off her goggles and wiped them on her t-shirt. They'd got all steamed up with the stress of it. "This is horrible," she said. Leo was stood in the doorway. "I'm not even coming in," said Leo. "I don't think my nerves can stand it." And then Cherry and Tucker started screaming. Tucker started running around, chasing his tail, screaming, "Oh my gosh, there's more skeletons! There's more skeletons! Oh no! Mr. Kitty, get him! Get him, Mr. Kitty!" He was getting all excited, and when Tucker gets excited, he just wants to lick everything. So he was licking Vaya, he was licking Heidi, he licked her glasses, and they were all wet and sloppy again, and she had to clean them again. And then Heidi was shouting at Tucker for licking her glasses, and then Vaya had got slaver all over her face, and it wiped all one side of her makeup off, and she was upset about that. And then Cherry was screaming because Cherry was so enthralled in the game. And she felt like she was playing the game again, even though she was only watching it, and she's pulling at Mr. Kitty. Mr. Kitty couldn't do the controllers properly because Cherry was pulling at him, going, "OMG! Ah, we're going to get eaten alive! Ah!" Mr. Kitty knocked Cherry off the bed as if to say, "Get off! I'm trying to focus." Cherry fell on the floor. Tucker tripped over her because he was still running around in circles tracing his tail, and then he landed on the floor, but he slid and banged his head first into the wall, and then he was laid there going, "Oh gosh, that almost knocked me out. I can barely see anything. Well, I can see something. I'm seeing stars." Cherry started laughing because Tucker's tongue was hanging out and his eyes were all buzz-eyed because he was seeing stars. And then she was rolling about on the floor laughing, and she said, "OMG, this is so intense. I can't stand this Minecraft game. It's blooming awful. Why do they call it Mindcraft anyway? Is it because it messes with your mind?" And then she nudged
Tucker, and Tucker said, "Oh yes, it definitely does. Look at us. Look at me and you. I've got zombies in my mind now, and they're chasing me, and they're gonna get me. And then I've got those horrible creeper things that blow up next to you, and then you could just explode at any moment. Oh, it's just awful. It feels so terrible. Oh my goodness."
Mr. Kitty said, "Will you two stop it? It's not called Mindcraft. It's called Minecraft, as in mining, as in you mine for things and you build your home and you build things and you find things when you're digging and you trade them for things and you can buy gems and all of that kind of stuff. And you two are making me lose my focus." Mr. Kitty had just entered into the Ender realm. That's where the Ender dragons were. He was very, very intensely focused. Heidi said, "Shh! He needs to focus." Vaya was just sat behind, reapplying all the one side of her makeup that had been licked off. She was putting on blusher and singing a little tune. Mr. Kitty said, "Shh!" Vaya quickly shut up, but she was not happy with him. How dare he tell her to be quiet? She had a lovely singing voice.
Tucker said, "Did you hear the word dragons? I heard the word dragons. Oh, I like dragons. I like dragons. I think dragons are very nice. If I were a dragon, I would be a black, shiny dragon because my fur is all shiny and black, and I would have scales, and I would lay golden eggs."
Cherry said, "OMG! Do dragons lay eggs?" Heidi said, "Yes, of course they do. How else do you think they reproduce?" Cherry said, "OMG, you learn something new every day. I didn't know dragons laid eggs. Oh, dragons are so awesome." "Oh, I do like dragons too, Tucker. Me and you know, we're like twinsies. We're so much alike. You're like, like me, and I'm like,
Tucker said, "Like me." Cherry said,
Yeah, exactly. You know what? I have an OMG t-shirt that'll look really good on you, Tucker. You and me in our OMG t-shirts. We'd look so cool. That way, somebody might notice how cool we are." Heidi grabbed a hold of her glasses and wobbled them up and down on her nose as if to say, "Are you talking about Mr. Kitty?" And Cherry looked at her sister and said, "Ha ha ha, yes, I am talking about that handsome Mr. Kitty." Mr. Kitty didn't notice any of it. He was too focused. He was like, I don't know, watching someone who was flying a spaceship on Star Wars or something. His facial expression was so intense. His forehead was all burrowed and frowny looking and serious. And he didn't have any time to be chitter-chattering or talking about Halloween. Who cares about Halloween when you've got creepers that could just turn up at any moment and just explode and ruin all your stuff? Apparently he had a bag full of stuff, and if a creeper came and exploded, all his stuff would fall out and he'd just spill it everywhere, and that would be a nightmare. Cherry climbed up on the bed, sat next to Mr. Kitty again and said, "I don't know what you're so stressed out about. I mean, it's only a game." Mr. Kitty looked at Cherry as if she was an absolute fool. How dare she? And in that moment, Cherry shrank. So small. Flashing in front of her, she saw all of her chances of Mr. Kitty falling madly in love with her disappearing. She knew instantly that she'd made a mistake. Well, OMG, I suppose, once you get into it, it doesn't feel like a game anymore. And I mean, anyway, if you lose your house, you could always get another one, couldn't you? Mr. Kitty looked at Cherry even more irritated than he was before, as if this cat knew absolutely nothing. She had no clue, obviously, and she was just a pest. She was an irritating pest, and he looked at her with so much disdain. She shivered.
OMG, she said internally. I think I just completely ruined it again. Oh, no.
She decided to keep quiet because everything she tried was just getting her more and more and more out of the favour of gorgeous, handsome Mr. Kitty. Vaya said,
If your house gets damaged, you have to build a whole new one, and that takes time.
Mr. Kitty turned round and gave Vaya a smile. And Vaya blushed, and Cherry noticed. In that moment, she noticed that there was something peculiar going on with Vaya, her sister, and Mr. Kitty. Mr. Kitty kept smiling at Vaya. Mr. Kitty did not keep smiling at Cherry. He kept smiling at Vaya as if he had special eyes just for Vaya. He wasn't smiling at Heidi like that. He wasn't smiling at her like that, but he was smiling at Vaya. Cherry said out loud, Do you have a crush on my sister? Tucker said, Oh no, oh daisies, oh daisies. Started turning around in circles as if he was trying to bury himself to disappear and get out of there, but he couldn't. Cherry looked at Tucker and said, My twinsy, my bestest dog friend. What are you hiding from me? Have you? Are you keeping? Ah! Cherry was stood there with her hands on her hips, not knowing how to feel. All of a sudden, her world felt like it just fell apart. Mr. Kitty looked at Cherry and said, We aren't hiding anything from you. Me and Vaya are just friends. Vaya pulled a face that was not very happy. Tucker thought he was getting away with it and started creeping towards the door, and then Cherry spotted him. Don't you dare leave! Tucker, what do you know? Me? Nothing. I don't know anything, me. I absolutely nothing. Nothing me, nothing at all. Absolutely zero kaput, nothing. Leo started laughing. Cherry said, Tucker, if you don't spill it, you're gonna be pancake. Do you know what that means, Tucker? Pancake. That means I'm gonna squish you. I'm gonna jump on you and squish you like a pancake. If you don't cough it out and tell me absolutely everything. What's going on? Tucker said, They were over here together and they were alone on the roof. But I didn't think anything of it because it wasn't like they were hugging or kissing on each other or anything like that. They were just friending. They were just friending each other. That's all. They were just friends. Mr. Kitty just carried on playing his game as if that was all there were to say. Vaya was still a little bit upset with Mr. Kitty. She thought they were closer than that. She was hoping that they were closer than that. It wasn't like they had decided that they were boyfriend and girlfriend or anything, but they'd shared things that were very special together. Obviously, she wasn't that special to him. Vaya stood up and walked out of the room and said, Come on, Leo, let's go hang out downstairs. I want to know all about what you're going to do for Halloween. Leo said, Well, we don't have to go downstairs for that because I'm not doing anything. I'd rather stay here and watch what's happening. Vaya said, Well, if that's okay then, well, I'm going to go to the bathroom. Leo peered back in the room to watch what would happen next. It was like watching a movie on telly. Cherry said, So you're telling me you're not dating my sister? Heidi said. He's not dating me. Cherry said,
OMG, Heidi, I know that. If I was going to date any of us, it would be me, right, Mr. Kitty?
Mr. Kitty turned around and looked at Cherry and said, I don't think you're my type, Cherry. Cherry looked like she'd been punched, or worse. One of those skeleton archers on that silly game of his had stabbed her with an arrow right through her heart. She fell on the floor, all dramatic, holding her heart.
I can't breathe. You don't want to be my boyfriend?
Mr. Kitty said, thanks, but no thanks.
Oh, my life is over. This is the horriblest, most painfulest day in my entire life. I don't want to talk about Halloween anymore. I want to go home. Heidi, let's go home.
Tucker said, No, don't go home, sissy. We can talk about what we can dress up as together, like twinsies.
Cherry said,
I'm not talking to you. You didn't tell me about her being on the roof, and you didn't tell me about him being on the roof, and I'm very, very offended.
Tucker said, Well, I didn't know to tell you because I didn't think it was such a big secret or anything. They were just talking and drinking lemonade and stuff. What am I supposed to say? Cherry, it's an emergency. Vaya's drinking lemonade with Mr. Kitty.
Cherry said,
No need to be sarcastic.
Tucker said, Well, what do you expect?
Cherry said,
OMG, Tucker. All right, then. I think I'm over it already anyway. I kind of knew. I don't think Mr. Kitty's my type either, so there you go, Mr. Kitty. I think he's too serious for me. I want somebody that's much more adventurous.
Heidi, Cherry, and Tucker all left Mr. Kitty to his game. They went downstairs. Leo decided to stay upstairs where it was quiet with Mr. Kitty. Mr. Kitty and Leo have a thing. They just kind of ignore each other and it works for both of them. The rest of them were all downstairs, discussing what they were going to do for Halloween. And then eventually, Heidi, Cherry and Vaya left and went home. Leo came downstairs and laid with Tucker on their big, soft, comfortable dog beds. And then they eventually fell asleep and had a really nice long nap. The end.